And I came up with something that said, I wrote here, what does it mean to be alone? Right? And what I mean by that is, well, we're going to talk about what I mean by that, right? Being alone in your head, and I put, your thoughts. Being alone in your heart, right? So it's your feelings. And then being alone in your home, so your life, your existence, right? And one of the thoughts that I had here, quite frankly, was I don't think enough people talk about this kind of stuff because I think a lot of people, my guess, I'm pretty close to being, I think, on point, at least the people in my life, don't know how to deal with being alone. And they are in situations when they're alone a lot more than you would imagine. Probably any one of those three, the thoughts, feelings, or their life. Or even if it's something as not innocuous, but as simple as they're not listening to me, they don't get me. Maybe someone's trying to put a point through. Maybe they're trying to get their part of the project through, whatever. I'm just being, whatever, technical here. Something where you won't think it's mental health or therapy. It's something tangible they work for a company, let's say, right? And maybe the company's no one's listening to them. They don't feel like they have any worth, value. I know what it feels like, right? To be that, where you end up turning up the volume and screaming so people can hear you and feel you, but you feel alone inside.
Yeah.
Right? And I think more people don't acknowledge it as being alone as they should, or else they would learn to fix it, right? Or acknowledge it. So I think talking about this in a very matter-of-fact way would be a wonderful, beautiful way. What do you think about being alone?
All right, here we go. The show just started, folks. When
Go for it.
All right, so the GTalk really was born when these two guys here, divorced. Now we are starting over and middle-aged. I'm 50. Jay is 47. Looking good, by the way, brother.
Thank you. You too. Look at that. Look at the sharpness. Look at this guy. And I'm wearing I'm wearing an amazing jersey, but we won't go there another time.
We've been alone for some time now, and it's alone at home. Felt alone in our hearts, in our minds. It was very, to feel alone, away from the world, from your loved ones, from just everything that had so much value in our lives. I did a lot of research when I said, okay, so my wife and I are done. I gotta produce a new life. The first step is I gotta get over this stuff.
Yep.
Step and one. I was alone a lot, and so the only thing I could do was research. How can I get over this a little bit quicker? And a lot of people say, take the time to be alone, to work on yourself, to try to refine yourself, because you're starting over. So now you have the opportunity to create a new you, an improved you.
Start again, right?
Yeah, and I was there, and being alone it could be a little deceiving. Because here I am.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean deceiving? Because
I'll tell you exactly what it means.
Go for it.
It's, okay, I got to work on myself. I got to do this in my mind. I'm like, okay, we're going to go to the gym. I'm going to get my six-pack back. I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then the other side of the alone is you're worthless. It's
the thorny side, or it's the side that cuts.
Mm-hmm.
It's the side with feelings.
Yeah, and coño, that's a hard freaking blow. And now somehow that's fucking stronger.
Isn't that? Oh, it's what we talked about in the last pod, right?
It's so much stronger, and and then you feel weak, and you're alone, and there's nobody there.
You know that moment in the gym, not when anyone is like, you don't know that moment, please. Come on. you got to rewind the clock. I used to have so. Okay, we'll move on. You know that moment in the gym where you grab the weights and you're trying to challenge yourself a little bit, and you kind of sit back and you're ready. And let's say you're doing a press, and you kind of get it up halfway, and you just can't get it, and you're just fighting. You're like, oh my god. And then you're like, well, maybe I got to think about it harder, right? And you start, and you're pressing your legs against the ground or your feet against the ground. At some point in time, you're going to have to give up because something's not going to work, right?
You're out of strength. You're out of breath. This is like.
You're out of mentality or whatever.
This is it. Like, I'm about to get crushed.
So you understand what I'm talking about. Yeah. I know it's hard for someone to pick things up and put things down, but even you could understand what I'm saying. You got to make a conscious effort at some point in time. I got to give this up, right? Doesn't mean I'm a failure. Doesn't mean I suck.
Yeah, no. It's like you're human. You ran out of strength for that moment in time.
Especially if it's at the end of a workout. But let's say it's at the beginning, right? Whatever. Yeah. But there's nothing you can do to change that situation. So what do we do now, my friend?
Change our mentality.
Because that weight was too heavy, and maybe I got to take it in pieces, right? Yeah. Little pieces. Maybe I should do, to do a weightlifting analogy, it's like maybe I should do some cable warm-ups first or something, or some push-ups instead, or some drop sets. This is too much for me.
Yeah.
But because I can't handle it, at least I acknowledged it. I'm not trying to force my way through it by trying to get my legs into it or something, or trying to do something unnatural that's going to hurt me and make it worse. Great analogy, I think, to talk about being alone, don't you think? Because nothing did I didn't mention a spotter. Someone could have helped you with that weight, Frankie, right? A spotter could have helped you because you wouldn't have put a weight you would think that you couldn't handle on the bar or the dumbbell, right? So if you had help, someone to spot your form or give you a little, you probably could have gotten that past that middle part, because the toughest part in a press is getting past the middle part, because then gravity is like, hey, up you go. So talk about what it means to have a spot here, because we've been dealing with a lot of heavy weight, right? And I know it's a clever analogy, but it's real.
It's but if you have a spotter when you're in that moments that it's like you're worthless, you ain't shit. That's why you are alone, because nobody loves you, and you're here alone because nobody loves you. And but you have a spotter. You have a spotter, and you feel a little emotional. You get a hug, and it's like, what are you talking about, Frank? You're freaking awesome. It's their loss, hurt, but you're gonna get back up, And there's the spotter doing their thing. But when you're alone, it's you're trying to get to 100. It's like, okay, start with 10, because you're not gonna drop 10.
Right.
And of course we all do it. We take everything on at the same time.
Right.
And
all the plates. Bring all the plates.
And Christ, even a pizza is sliced up into 8 slices. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
that's such a great analogy. You're not gonna eat it all at once, so roll it up. That's so great.
So yeah, it's being alone is very deceiving. It's necessary.